Hello, darlings. I am Cassandra. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for coming. For those of you who are new to my channel, child, let me introduce you to the Jungle Beauty Goddesses, the life-size fabric sculpture dolls you see sitting behind me. I created these dolls myself, and as I was sewing them, they would not stop talking to me, and this led to my Jungle Beauty Goddess book series and my Jungle Beauty Goddess Oracle deck. Today, I'm going to give you an inspirational message from our readings, child, about the importance of healing your inner child so that you can attract healthier and more loving relationships in your life. So the first card I have for you is from Jungle Beauty Goddess Kalahari. She represents our heart chakra, and her message is, it is impossible for someone to love you more than you love yourself. The next card I have, I was pulling cards from my other decks, child, is from the tarot deck. And we have the Seven of Swords. And the Seven of Swords actually is about deception and people not being honest with you. There are things going on behind your back. It's just really, it's a card about people, about thieves, about people stealing ideas, people stealing things from you, people betraying you, people being unloyal to you, people lying to you, people being deceitful. And then I also have a card, another card. We have the Nine of Swords, and the Nine of Swords is actually a card that talks about anxiety and stress. Like a person not being able to sleep because you're so worried about what's going to happen. Like you're just under a lot of duress. I know, right? I'm just like, what kind of hand is this? Like what the Jiminy Cricket is going on, y'all? So when I pulled this hand right here, it literally put me down. When I say put me down, at least for a week, where I could not make a video. I couldn't think straight. Because this hand is really talking about your heart and, love and betrayal and people, lying, deceitfulness. And so let me just tell you what came to me. So I pulled this hand and I'm going over the cards, and I have this vision of when I was a kid. I'm the oldest I have two brothers, and my mom would always tell me to take the broken cookies, the burnt toast, the burnt sausage. Anytime there was anything wrong with the food, she would always say, you're mama's big girl. So in order to please my brothers, she would always, so they would stop whining, like, because my brothers would say, they really would not take, at the breakfast table, they wouldn't take anything that wasn't perfect, or dinner, whatever. They would always want their food to be perfect, and whatever wasn't perfect, my mother would always tell me that I should take it because I was the oldest. And my brothers would tease me about having the broken cookies and the burnt toast and the burnt sausage or whatever. I just remember, or the piece of chicken that was, wasn't perfect, whatever it was, I had to take it because I was the oldest. And so I pulled this hand, and I just started bawling for days. Literally for days. I couldn't put myself together because I kept thinking about, and then my childhood and how, even though I was a kid too, my brothers were I think the biggest gap is between myself and my youngest brother. I'm 3 years older than him, and then my other brother and I, we're 11 months apart. And so, to me, how this impacted me is that I feel like when I look at the relationships that I have established in my life, they have just been broken cookies and burnt toast. You know what I'm saying? Why would when I look at the type of I don't think we get to, I don't want to start this video over or get, otherwise this is never going to happen. But basically, I just had an epiphany that the deception that I'm really experiencing in my life is rooted in my childhood, because I learned how to disassociate my true feelings with what was happening. So if I would start to cry because my brothers were teasing me, my mother would say, I'm going to give you something to cry for. And so I learned to not only just take the things, like whatever that was imperfect. I don't care if it was a toy, I don't care if it was a piece of cake, whatever it was like, she's oldest, you take it, these are your brothers. And even though it hurt my feelings, it trained me to accept things that wasn't healthy, things that are not good for me. But it also, I think, it taught me to disassociate myself, to detach myself from my true emotions, so that I was no longer loyal to myself. I wasn't able to identify my real feelings, my real pain, my real hurt. So I was just used to taking bits and pieces. And anyway, so after I pulled this hand, and I realized that it is, when Kalahari, even though I made these cards, it just for some reason just hit me when she says it is impossible for someone to love you more than you love yourself. I realized that I'm like not in love with myself, that I am not loving myself in a way that will allow me to attract whole and healthy, committed, loyal, faithful relationships with people, because the biggest deception in my life is the deception that I have established with myself over the years. And it's so funny that I teach psychology, and I'm always telling people about the importance of your childhood and and how the things that have happened to you in your childhood affects who you are in your life. And so I realized, anyway, from having this moment, from going back, and it wasn't like a one-time incident, it was the story of my life. Give it to Sandy. She should take it. She's the oldest. And I feel like I needed to find a way to make peace with this story, to make peace, to be able to go back and heal my inner child. So first I did some meditation work, and I, went back, and I would console myself, like this version of me as an adult now. I would console myself, and I would allow myself to cry, because I feel like that was another thing that really harmed me. Was not only did it hurt my feelings to be put in that position, but then I learned not to cry. So I feel like, even like with my jobs, I've always been the person, well, I'll take the bad shift, I'll take the bad rooms, I'll take I don't need the room with the window. I'll just take whatever is left, because that's the way I was trained. And I don't think that's healthy, you know what I mean? So I told myself that I needed to, I'm not a person who likes to go around and tell sad stories and let that be the end of the story. I don't mind the story being sad, but it can't be the end of the story. So I said, okay, how did my childhood help me? I can see how it hurt me, but I need to see how it helped me. And I feel like the way let me just say this. I wanted to rewrite the story in a way that type of childhood has benefited me in some way. So all of the jobs that I've had, pretty much, I have dealt with situations where I have been like a minority. And I feel like, because I have been trained to always think about other people and not think about myself, I have been able to get along with people in very stressful conditions, or I teach a race and ethnicity class where I can communicate with people about subjects that, where I'm the only person of color, and the first, person of color they've ever had as a teacher, and still be able to share very difficult information, because I'm always thinking about how this information can impact them, how it can hurt somebody else's feelings. I have most of my life worked in an environment where I don't see other people who look like me, but I'm able to get along with people, because I feel that my childhood training has allowed me to be empathetic, to be able to see another person's perspective. So I don't blame my parents, and I'm not upset about it. I did have an emotional breakthrough. But I can also see where in my personal life, in my love life, that has been like, has left me not understanding why I have not been able to expect more in my relationships, to have more wholesome and loving and reciprocal type relationships, where I've, just not been given. It's not so what somebody was giving me, it's what I was willing to accept, because I had been accepting that throughout my childhood. So another thing that I did to heal myself is I created, how people, there's this saying about in the Bible, like, my cup runneth over, or people always say, fill your own cup first. I have my cup. I said, you know what? I don't even have a cup, child. Not about filling the cup. I don't even know where it is. I don't even think I have one. So I basically just found a cup in the house. I painted the cup with love, and I told myself that from now on, I'm going to fill my own cup with love. I'm going to put myself first. I'm going to focus on myself. So, I just pretty much painted this cup, and then I filled it with gemstones, and I would hold the gemstone and say, I'm filling my cup with self-love. I'm going to take, better care of myself. I'm going to acknowledge my feelings. I'm not going to accept less from anybody, from any relationship than I feel like I deserve. I'm putting myself first. I'm putting my feelings first. But this is something that I had to do just to symbolically heal myself, so that I would know that I benefited, how do I say this? I benefited from, how my parents raised me, but it also hurt me in a big way. And so, when people say things like, love yourself, but sometimes when we learn to love ourselves through the eyes of other people, through our family. So if we're in a family where we are taught that we are only loved based on what we are giving away, we never learn how to give that love to ourselves. And at some point in our lives, it can cause us a lot of emotional damage. So I really hope that this reading helps someone. I hope that you can look in your life, look at your relationships, the type of romantic and loving relationships you have, and see how they may be connected to your childhood, and how you may need to go back and look, and not just let the story of, the sad story exist, but you do need to grieve that story though. But then rewrite that story, child. So you can say, oh, even though this was a very painful upbringing, here are some things that I learned. This is how this helped me. And then from there, after you recreate your story, moving forward, I would say create a cup, child. Don't even try to go to the dollar store or anywhere, but I would say go get a cup, find a cup, and fill that cup all the way to the brim with gemstones, and even if you want to go get some river rocks from outside, whatever you want to fill it with, whatever you want to find in the house, child. But when you're placing things in that cup, say that I am filling my cup with self-love. I am filling my cup with self-respect. I am filling my cup with well-being. And and just keep whatever is on your heart, fill your cup and hold it and just place it on your heart, and imagine this emerald green light. Imagine your heart chakra, becoming this beautiful round, radiating light. You don't want to close your heart even though you've been hurt, but you do need to make sure that you are focusing on loving yourself in a healthy way. And for me, it's no, I'm not doing A, B, C, D, E. No, I'm not going, do you know what I'm saying? So self-love means loving myself enough that maybe I want to give myself a pedicure. Maybe I want to just relax. And I think that's another thing about self-care, is that we feel guilty when we tell somebody, no, I'm not busy, I just don't want to do that for you. I want to take care of myself. I want to watch my TV show. I want to read my book. No, I don't want to do this for you. So I think sometimes we feel like we have to lie and say we're busy, because it's like, it's like in the past, it's like I feel like I'm such a worthless being if I'm not giving to you, unless I make up some type of excuse that, as to why I can't just give myself completely to you. So anyway, I really hope this reading helps someone. Thank you so much for watching. And I look forward to seeing you, darling, in the next video.